have a word. You're wondering, why do you always have these issues when you try to fit in? You're wondering why, when you try to explain yourself, you find out that people misunderstand you. You're wondering, why is it that people twist your words? When you try to say one thing, they wind up saying you meant something else. You're wondering, why do you always get used by people when you're trying to be good? You're wondering, why do you get mistreated by lots and lots of people, and sometimes including family members? You're wondering, why is this always happening when it's so easy for people to get together and talk behind your back? Like a bunch of people will get together and kind of like they don't like you, so when they talk to the other person don't like you either. Let me say this. You are not liked because you're not meant to fit in. You are not liked because you carry a big assignment. You are chosen by God. God gave you the toughest assignment, and you are meant to show God's glory in your life and through your life. You are meant to show God's glory through your life. And that's why you get treated the way you do. That's why you go through so much warfare. That's why things happen to you like they do. Even though you treat people kind, even though you do things for people, soon as you stop doing stuff, it seems like something goes bad. And I'm saying it like this. When you decide, anybody else can decide not to do something for people. But if you decide not to do something for people, it's almost like you become the scum of the earth. Because technically this is how people felt about you in the first place. But the reason why this is because you are chosen by God. You are chosen. Joseph, when Joseph was mistreated by his brothers, when he was mistreated by his brothers, it was okay until he began to tell them his dream. When he told them his dream, and he began to let them know that he had a dream. Nobody else in his family said they had a dream other than him. But they got angry with him. But here's the thing. The reason why God is allowing this to happen is because God is doing something with your heart. When Joseph went through this, God was watching his heart. He was watching his heart. God was watching to see how Joseph would respond, even though his brothers was doing all this stuff to him. You see, there'll be people who will jump on each other's side just to do stuff to you. That's what happened with Joseph. And God, look where God positioned Joseph to be. Joseph was able to help his family after going through that, and he forgave them. So I want to say this: when people do you wrong, forgive them. Forgive them. Joseph was basically isolated. God was working on his heart, but God isolated him from his family because God was working on his heart to put him in position to be able to help his family. But in the midst of it, they not only killed him, but they went back to the father and told the father this lie about him being killed. So the thing is that they really, really, truly wanted to just tarnish who he was. They killed him, or they sold him into slavery, and then they told the father he was dead, and he basically got ripped apart. He's no more. The father would not even go looking for him because they said he pretty much got destroyed by. They brought back the coat, bloody coat. So he basically was destroyed to smithereens, as they call it. So, but in the end, he ended up helping them. So I want to say this to you, that you may be going through something. There may be a whole lot of people who might be jumping on a bandwagon together to go against you. But let me say this: God is doing something behind the scenes. And those people that are doing this, you're going to have to help them. That's why God is doing it, because you're going to have to help them. You have been chosen for a big, big assignment. If you notice, you can never fit in. You try to fit in. And here's the thing. You always find yourself where you go through warfare. You know, I remember just going through so much warfare and people saying, pray, 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 pray. And I pray and I pray and I pray and I pray. Still goes through warfare because I am chosen. I'm called by God. I know that my assignment is quite different than other people's. I'm chosen by God. That's why I always go through so much. But in the end, God blesses me. I always have never done without. Never did without. And a lot of things in my life have made a lot of people jealous and envy. But that's what God called us to be, the chosen. And your life is blessed. And a lot of people can't stand it. They hate it. They hate who you are, your existing, everything. They hated Joseph. They hated everything about Joseph. Everything. His brother, his siblings did. They hated him. It didn't even matter if he would have done right. They thought he was just some dreamer. He couldn't just tell them his dream and they could be like, oh, okay, cool. That's cool. You had a dream. They hated him. They hated the fact there probably is people who favor you. They hated that. They hate the fact that you're favored, highly favored. Not only are you favored by God, but you're favored by people. They hate that people gravitate towards you, even though they don't gravitate towards you because they don't like you. But they hate that people gravitate towards you. And they hate the fact that you got favor. You got favor. They hate that. So then you get that where you start hearing other people around you, they'll start saying they got favor. And a lot of times they're making theirs up. Real talk, they're making theirs up, but you're not, because you're chosen. You are chosen by God. So I want to say this: if you're going through something today, or if you don't even be afraid to face anything, because guess what? You got an extra covering. You're covered by God. You're covered, and your family is covered by God. So it doesn't even matter. That's why I don't focus on a witch on a broomstick. You know, like people say witchcraft and stuff like that. Yes, we do have to pray. But God, at the end of the day, no witch, no warlock, no nothing can overtake you. Nothing. People can pray against you, but your assignment is already set. And you are not set to fail. Your assignment is already set for you. God already called you. And I want to talk to the prophets now. People that are called as prophets. Do you remember Elisha? When Elisha was on his journey, and all of a sudden he had these teenagers or children come out and they mocked him. They called him Baldy. But when he turned around and he cursed them in the name of God. And God had 2 female bears come out and tear him up. My point is this, is that God said, do not touch not my anointed ones and do my prophets no harm. So if you're called to be a prophet, let me say this. I also keep hearing this that God is telling me. Because I always, I get picked on as being a prophet. People pick with prophets. But God is saying, touch not my anointed ones and do my prophets no harm. People just don't understand how serious it is to mess with prophets. A real, true prophet. I'm talking about a true prophet. I'm talking about a prophet who's faking like they're a prophet. I'm talking about a real, true prophet. And people I get messed with. People mess with me. And I've seen people mess with me. And God, also said, I don't rejoice, because you never rejoice when you see things happen. But I've seen people get dealt with because they messed with prophets. So I want to say this to the prophets. Do not keep doing what God called you to do. Keep speaking. You are the voice of God. You are chosen and called by God. You are a prophet. I'm talking about the true prophets. So do not worry about it. And it wasn't like Elisha called a curse to make it happen. But it was God that did it, because they was mocking him, calling him Baldy and telling him to just go up. If you look at the scripture, it said just go. Basically, they wanted him to do like Elijah went up. Remember when Elijah went up into heaven? They wanted him to do the same thing. So they was mocking him. And that's when it happened. When he turned around and cursed them in the name of God. God did it, not Elijah, but God did it. So I'm saying this, I'm not saying that anybody is cursed, but what I am saying is that the word says, touch not my anointed ones and do my prophets no harm. So that's why when people say things about me and talk about me, I don't really care. And you got to get to the same way, because they're trying to stop you from your assignment. You've been called and chosen. I've been called some of everything except for a child of the Most High God. I've been lied on, everything. I mean, basically talked about bad. But you still got to keep going. You have an assignment. And that's the thing. The devil is trying to stop you. We don't wrestle against flesh. This is all about Satan's tactics, trying to use other people, jealousy and envy, to stop you. But it can't stop you, because you are not set to fail. So I want to speak this word over you, that you will win. You will not fail. And you are blessed. You are the head and not the tail. You are above and not beneath. And you speak for God. And you are chosen with a big assignment. But guess what? With that big assignment comes big protection and a big God. So if anybody ever tries to touch you, it won't work. It won't work at all. I've known a lot of people who tried to touch me, and God never let them. God never handed David over to Saul. Never did he. And David had a big assignment, became a king. But he never handed David over to Saul. Never did he. He never handed David to Saul. So you won't be handed over either. Keep doing what God called you to do and never stop. Keep going. And I asked you to just share this message if you can. I also want to say, because a lot of people ask me, can they give? You can give if you want to. I would be greatly appreciated if you give. We would, to this ministry, because we help people. We help people with homes. We put people in homes. We actually remodel homes, and put people in low-income housings and put them in houses, so that they'll have somewhere to live. But if you want to donate, you can. We buy, Pampers and different things for mothers and children and fathers if they need. But if you want to help, you can. Also, I want to say, if you can't help, that's okay too. But you can share this video so that others will see, because there's a lot of people who are feeling this way. They are going through, and I'm praying for you, saints. I'm praying for you, because there's people attacking folks, and sometimes people don't even know what they're doing. They just be attacking people for no reason. But the reason is jealousy and envy. They see something in you that they don't see in themselves. But God put that in you. Don't apologize for what God put inside of you. I pray that this message helps you. God bless you. Be blessed.